In 1980, a college student named Dorothy Jane Scott drops her coworker off at a hospital. Nothing unusual. She waits until the parking lot, walks to her car, turns on the engine, and then she's gone. No struggle, no screams, just gone. But the next day, her family starts getting phone calls. A man says he has Dorothy, and he's watching them. This story is chilling, real, and gets worse the deeper you go on. But first, if you ever turned your car on and something fell off, then smash that like button. And if you love creepy stories with an impossible twist, then hit the subscribe button. Turn on your notifications and stay tuned to the end. This is a story about a woman who disappeared in seconds, but left behind a terrifying voice that haunted her family for years. This is the true story of Dorothy Jane Scott. Dorothy is 32, a single mom living in California. She works two jobs, mostly keeps to herself. She's not into parties or the nightlife. She's focused on her son. Then one day, the calls started. A man calls at her work. At first, he says he loves her, but also threatens to kill her. He claims to know her schedule, what she was wearing. Once, he even leaves a dead rose on her windshield. Terrified, she tells her parents and considers buying a gun. Back in the 1980s, stalking wasn't taken seriously. On May 28th, Dorothy takes a coworker to the hospital after he's been bitten by a black widow spider. She drives him there, waits until his treatment, and around 11 p.m., tells him she'll pull the car up around front. He watches her walk out. 2 minutes later, her car comes screaming out the parking lot, headlights off, speeding, then vanish. The next morning, her car is found burned in the alleyway. No sign to Dorothy. Then the phone rings. Dorothy's mother answers, and a man's voice says, "Are you related to Dorothy Scott?" She said yes, and he whispers, "I've got her," then hangs up. This happens again and again. For 4 years, the same voice calls, always late at night. Sometimes he says Dorothy is alive. Sometimes she says that she's dead. Once he tells her mother exactly what Dorothy was wearing the night she vanished. Details never released to the public. Police trace the cause, but the line always goes dead before they can track it. Then, in 1984, construction workers find the human remains buried near Anaheim. I'm not sure if I said that right. They belong to Dorothy Jane Scott. She was murdered. The authorities never figure out how or by who. And after the discovery is made public, the calls stop. The most disturbing part, Dorothy never saw her killer. She barely knew him. He was always watching her from a distance, building up a fantasy in his head. When it broke, he took her. The theory? He was someone she barely noticed. Maybe a customer from work, maybe someone who passed her on the street. But in his mind, they had a relationship. And when she didn't return the same affection, he erased her. Her son, just 4 years old at the time, grew up never knowing what really happened to his mom. And the man who did it, never caught. It was 2003. 20-year-old Michael Bridges needed a win. He was broke, out of work, heartbroken. His girlfriend had left him. His friends had disappeared. Every day felt heavier than the last. And then, just when it seemed like he hit rock bottom and couldn't go any deeper, he got a phone call. He'd won a sweepstake, an all-expense-paid trip to Calgary, a pro hockey game, a free ticket, hotel, drinks, everything. Michael's world subtly tilted into the right direction. That night, in the roaring crowd of the stadium, he took his seat and let himself feel happy for the first time in months. Then, a stocky man with a mustache sat beside him. "Man, I'm so excited to be here. I won this in a sweepstake," the stranger said. Michael turned, shocked. "No way. Me too." They laughed, talked, and bonded. His name was Brock. And that night, after the game, Brock invited Michael to a strip club. Brock paid for everything, drinks, tips, lavish. Michael had never seen that kind of money. Brock had stacks of cash, stacks of bills, confidence, power, and Brock liked Michael. He said, "Hey, I'm moving to Brandon. That's your hometown, right? Help me find a place and I'll find you work." Michael grinned. He couldn't believe his luck. Weeks later, Brock moved to Brandon. Michael helped him settle in. In return, Brock delivered on his promise. He gave Michael a job, not a regular job, deliveries. Brock handed him a sealed packages and told him to where to drop them. One rule, don't open them, ever. Mike was suspicious, but he was too desperate and the money was too good. He ignored the warning bells. Until one day, Brock pulled a U-turn. They were driving after lunch when Brock's phone rang. His voice shifted, tense and cold. He hung up. "We're going to City Hotel." No explanation. When they arrived, Brock stormed into the hotel room. Michael watched from a car. A woman opened the door, startled. She tried to shut it, and Brock forced it open. Then he punched her, again and again. Blood splat. She fell. Brock calmly walked back to his car. "Don't tell anyone," he said. Stunned, he wanted out, but it was far too late. Days later, then weeks, Michael kept working. He kept delivering, and Brock kept paying. But something inside Michael shifted. The fear was there now. The line had been crossed, and Brock seemed to enjoy crossing it. Then came the big offer. Brock invited Michael to dinner. He leaned in, serious. "The boss wants to meet you. He's impressed. He thinks you might be ready for a promotion. More power, more money. But first, Michael needed to prove he was tough." "Tell him your story," Brock said. "Tell him what you told me." So Michael did. He told the story of what he done for the past 2 years earlier, the night his girlfriend, Erin Cheney, tried to leave him. He told Brock how he snapped, how he strangled her until she passed out, then drowned her in the bathtub. He told the truth, and Brock nodded. "You're ready." The hotel room was fancy, quiet. Michael sat on a velvet chair, heart pouncing. Brock said, "He'll be here soon. The boss doesn't wait for anyone." Michael rehearsed his story one last time, then a knock. The door opened, but it wasn't the boss. It was the police. Guns raised, voices shouted. Michael froze, because everything, the sweepstakes, the job, the packages, and the women at the motel, even the blood, it was all fake. Brock wasn't a criminal. He was an undercover cop, and the entire operation had been a sting. Michael's packages? Just flour. The woman he saw beaten? An actor. And the entire last 6 months of his life had been a trap, built to earn his trust, lower his defenses, and then get him when he confesses. And he did. The cameras were hidden inside the hotel room, recorded every word. He detailed his detailed confession, his complete surrender. Erin's body was recovered exactly where he said it would be. Her family finally had answers, and Michael was charged with murder.